Hello everyone and welcome back, hope we're having a great day and we're all doing well. In this video, I'm going to teach you 10 hard breaching tricks in Rainbow Six Siege. This video is helpful for both new players and experienced players since there's always new things to learn in this game. That's what makes it so fun. I just want to quickly say the support recently has been absolutely amazing, and if you haven't subbed already then be sure to do it. We're trying to hit 100k by the end of the year, and be sure to comment which one of these tricks are your favorite. And without further ado, let's get into these tricks. Now this first trick is going to be for ace. You can actually do this with Hibana as well, so I'll show you that in a second. And this is a trick to completely open an entire reinforcement from very top to the very bottom with 2 ace charges. Now I will say using this on ace isn't the best use of his gadget because that has 2 out of 3 gadgets gone just for one wall. That being said, this is possibly the fastest way to completely remove an entire reinforcement. All you have to do is simply place an ace charge at the top of a reinforcement and another one at the bottom of the reinforcement. This will cause the wall to instantly open up completely from top to bottom, leaving just a soft wall behind it. Again, you will only have 1 ace charge left in your pocket now, but as long as this is a crucial breach in which you've made your way through, then it was gadgets well used. And considering how small an average ace hole is, this isn't the worst strat in the world. And like I was saying, you can do this same trick with Hibana. Now this will use a total of 8 pellets, 4 at the top and 4 at the bottom. Just like what it done with the ace charges, this will completely remove the reinforcement and leave the soft wall behind it exposed. Again, being able to make a breach this size with 2 operators who make relatively small holes is a pretty interesting thing. It's just quite a shame it takes a lot of their gadgets to do it. Now this next one for Maverick is one of my favorite ones to use when I play him, and that is if you use your breaching torch at the very top of a reinforcement by the red line at the top of it, you can make these very small holes, which most of it will be actually protected by this red bit at the top of the reinforcement, meaning that anyone on the other side of the reinforcement trying to fight back will have to be fighting against a very small hole. I'll probably show a clip of me on Nighthaven Labs doing it since that's one of my favorite maps to do it. I just go to the very top of the reinforcement, make a hole that is protected by this red line, and I have a very slim angle to shoot through. A lot of people playing in Garage and by the IT breach don't even know I'm there, and I can take them by surprise very easily. Of course, this can be done on any reinforcement you can rappel beside. This one gives you a little bit more safety, and as well as this, you can take enemies by surprise since an enemy running around the corner isn't going to be looking at the top of the wall. Now it's very likely that you've been in a situation where you're playing as Hibana, you're about to go grab a hatch, and then you realize they have a Kaze and the hatch is electrified. Now, in the perfect world, we would bring a Twitch to maybe clear it from below, a Thatcher if he's not banned, maybe an operator which has a secondary EMP. In the perfect world, we'd always bring the perfect counter. However, the reality of Siege is you make mistakes. You forget to bring certain operators, you bring the wrong operator, you bring the right operator, but you waste their gadgets. A round doesn't always go butter smooth. So this tip, if there's an electric claw on the hatch and the hatch is also beside a soft floor, then Hibana is actually capable of destroying an electric claw with her gadget by placing it on the soft floor beside the hatch itself. One of the most common examples of this is on Clubhouse. If you're attacking the basement bomb site, the chances are that they have a Kaze, and that Kaze has his electric claw placed on kitchen hatch. Well, if you're Hibana, set your gadget to the 2 pellet option and shoot those 2 pellets right beside the hatch. Make sure you're not too close because the electricity will still hit it, but just close enough where it doesn't touch. And then once you detonate these pellets, the explosion should destroy the electric claw, then allowing you to go on and grab the entire hatch. Again, you're not going to have a 100% success rate with this tip. However, this is a very good tip to keep in the back of your mind if you are stuck in this situation, because this can be the difference between the hatch being open and closed. This next one is for thermite, and if you ever came across a reinforced wall which is completely electrified and you have no EMPs or any way to clear this wall, most of the time you think you'd be out of luck. Well, depending on what site you are attacking, this isn't always the case. On certain bomb sites such as Initiation on Theme Park, you can place your thermite charge on the soft wall beside the reinforced wall even if this reinforced wall has electricity on it, and detonating your thermite charge on this soft wall will cause the wall beside it to also open up. Again, this can even still have the bandit battery on it after it's opened. And now you've just successfully opened up an electrified reinforced wall without even touching the wall itself. You can do this in a bunch of different ways as well. You can even do it from the floor above. This is a very common one you'll see on Oregon, where the dining hall wall will be completely reinforced. All you gotta do is go to the top of Small Tower, place your thermite charge above, and once you breach, the top half of the reinforcement will now be open. And again, this will open regardless if there's electricity on the wall. Thermite is kind of the only one who can do this. Some other hard breach chargers can do it to a tiny extent, but Thermite is the only one who can properly do this trick. So be sure to keep this one in mind the next time you play Thermite. This next trick for Maverick might seem a bit simple, but it's very effective and you don't really see a lot of people doing it. If you're attacking a reinforced wall, let's say for example Nighthaven Labs outside IT breach or Oregon in Big Tower attacking attic wall, you and a teammate can do a simple little strat to take these enemies by surprise. What both of these breaches share in and common is the fact that there's a staircase right beside them. So all you gotta do is get one of your teammates to go on the staircase, and Maverick makes a line at the bottom of the reinforcement, and this means that the person at the bottom of the staircase has a really tight angle to look underneath the reinforcement and catch anyone who is walking past and hopefully eliminate them. Now, this isn't just limited to staircases. If outside of the reinforced wall you can also rappel, this same trick can be done. A lot of people like to do this when attacking CCTV cache on Clubhouse. Simply get someone to go and rappel outside of the CCTV wall, Maverick does a foot line, and the enemies no longer have toes. For this next trick, let's stay with Maverick, because I think it's time I teach you the Maverick trick. This trick sort of has the same essence as the Hibana and Ace one at the very beginning of the video, and this is a way to completely remove the entire reinforcement of a wall and just leave the soft wall behind it. And to do this with Maverick is actually very simple. All you have to do is look at the top of the wall and do a line across at the very top. You have to make sure you do this from the very far corners of both sides, and if this is on a double reinforcement, you just have to stop at the middle where it meets the next one. You just have to repeat this same process for the bottom of the reinforcement, and then boom, the reinforcement disappears. Now here's a little small tip inside of this tip: never really ADS when you use Maverick's breach torch. You move faster when you're not ADSing with it, so I recommend just sort of hip firing with his gadget, if that makes sense, because it's just going to be way more efficient. Also, the weather has just decided to go crazy and thunder a lot outside, so I apologize if you hear that. But this next tip is for Ace, and I've told you guys this one before, but I really want to hammer it into people who haven't seen it. Never place an Ace charge at vaultable level. Always try your best to place your Ace charge in a way that will allow you to crouch through the wall. A vaultable breach hole will cause you to be locked in a little animation as you vault through, and as well as this, you'll make a distinct noise once you climb through the breach. However, a crouch level 1 will allow you to crouch walk through. You can slow walk so you won't make a lot of noise, and as well as this, you won't be stuck in an animation. This makes it so much safer as you enter the breach, and you should always try and make a crouch level hole. Sort of segueing in from that tip as well, we have a little trick for Hibana, and this is if you have your pellets set on the 4 setting. Lining your bottom laser up with sort of the little red bit at the bottom of the reinforcement will allow you to create a hole which is at perfect level for you to crouch through. This means that you can make a breach with Hibana which is perfectly enterable with just 4 pellets. With one of these tricks only needing 4, that means she can open a total of 5 reinforced walls with a crouchable level hole. That is the same amount of holes as Thermite and Ace combined. Of course, the secondary hard breach charge has kind of made this not as relevant, but it is a very useful tip if you are playing Hibana, since you can still open up a bunch of walls with her. Keeping it in theme with these weird Hibana tricks, here's another one where you can open up a massive hole in the wall, and depending on how big you want your hole to be, that's the amount of pellets you'll use. But it'll always be using the 2 option, and you'll build on top of that in increments of 2. And this will only work if it is a double reinforcement. So what you want to do is you want to come to this double reinforcement and shoot out a bit of the soft wall between the walls. Here it will expose the inside where these 2 reinforcements meet, and this is when you want to set your gadget to the option of 2. Now, shooting 2 in total will cause it to make a medium-sized hole. Using 2 on top of 2 will make it a crouch level 1, and then using 2 and 2 will make it a standing one. However, sometimes it is a bit temperamental and does break. This is quite an interesting interaction Hibana has with walls. It is most likely a bug, however, it's always been in the game and Ubisoft haven't patched it, so I assume they're not against people using it. And personally, I think it is really cool and it adds a lot of depth to her gadget, and using my logic from the last tip, that means you're capable of doing this on 5 different reinforced walls. That is absolutely insane. So be sure to keep this one in mind the next time you play Hibana. And the final tip for this video is yet another one for Hibana, but this tip is to simply utilize that option of having 2 pellets with Hibana. I explained how these 2 pellets are good at clearing an electric claw off a hatch, but these 2 pellets are also very good at just clearing utility in general. You can shoot these at a castle barricade to easily detonate that and destroy it. The same happens with Azami's Kiba barriers. If there is a deployable shield which is right beside a soft wall or even a reinforced wall, you can use these to destroy that as well. Same goes for any bulletproof gadget which is attached to a wall. Shoot 2 pellets right beside it, detonate it, and destroy the gadget in the process. This 2 pellet option is also very good at baiting an enemy into giving away where you are. Shooting these 2 pellets on a soft window, then rotating round, and then as you're pushing the other side, detonating them, will sort of trick the enemy into thinking you're pushing that window that just exploded, when in reality, you are actually behind them. Since Hibana is a hard breacher, a lot of people think that they are wasting her utility when you do this. To be honest, she has that much utility that using 2 or 4 of these on some other stuff which aren't reinforcements isn't going to be the end of the world. Fair enough if you're wasting a thermite or ace charge on like a soft barricade or a soft wall, that's understandable, but the amount of utility Hibana has and this flexibility ability to change how many you shoot at a time allows her to do little things like these. So those were 10 quick hard breaching tips in Rainbow Six Siege to instantly improve. Be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about which one of these tips were your favorite, and if you are new here, be sure to hit that sub button since it's free and it helps greatly, and be sure to also drop a like on this video. Check out my other videos and my other platforms. Have an incredible rest of your day. I love you all. Stay safe. Peace.